Welcome back to another edition of Welcome Back Comics videos. This time we're in the upstairs edition. Normally I record these downstairs in the basement. Usually it's smaller sets of books I picked up at a show. Pretty easy to manage in the smaller space we have down there. This time we actually bought a collection. It's probably only about 3 boxes or so, but I started spreading it out upstairs in the dining room, so here we are. A little bit of a different backdrop for you all. Basically picked up a collection off of Craigslist. It's been a really long time since we've been able to access a collection that way, and very excited to get these books, give you a chance to see some of them. As you all know from watching these videos, all 2 of you, that if you see anything you like or you can't live without, feel free to message us either via Facebook or at welcomebackcomics@gmail.com. And if you have books you're looking to sell, certainly we are happy to buy them. So basically, like I said, about 3 boxes. Most of it was in boxes. Well, this is going to be a little heavy because I reoriented some things, but basically kind of in boxes like this, old wine and beer boxes, 1 long box of comics. Again, it's probably going to be about 3 boxes of comics. I've started the sorting process a little. Guy just didn't, said basically, I've had these collections, this books in the 80s or 90s, looking to get rid of them. Threw a price at him, he said it was okay, and I picked them up kind of sight unseen. The price was good enough to get them without really looking through, and turned out to be quite a surprise with a lot of really great stuff in it. So what I figured I'd do is sort of quickly walk you through some of the junk, filler 50-cent dollar books, and then give you a sense of what some of the more exciting things are. For those who've watched before, this will be a little bit longer of a collection, or of a video, but hopefully interesting. I'm also trying some new stuff in terms of the setup with the camera. Normally, as you all know, I just kind of hold up the books and talk about them, but there's too many to do that this time, so I'm going to try and orient the camera in such a way that I can kind of sort and talk at the same time. So forgive any choppiness. So what I'm going to try and do now, if I can figure this thing out, is angle it in such a way, that you're seeing sort of the inside of the long box. And I'm just going to move some books over from this crate or beer box over into it. So again, I'm not going to go through everything, but you can see it's kind of like filler, 80s, 90s stuff. We've got some a large run of Alpha Flight, Secret Wars 2, Marvel Fanfare. Some stuff not awful. And I'll sort through this in more detail later to get a sense of whether gems in there. But for the time being, it kind of looks like most of this will be 50-cent or dollar books. You can kind of hear as I'm sorting through these are old bags and boards. They stick together. It makes sorting through the books kind of a pain. Again, I'm going to give you kind of a bad view, I'm sure, into the books as I continue to put them in this long box. So again, we're continuing through with the Alpha Flight. Then we got into a nice run of New Mutants. We did have number 1. Actually, we'll talk about this in a bit, but several issues of number 1. There were a couple books where we got multiple issues of them. Again, nobody cares about the Thing miniseries, probably series except for me, but a big chunk of the Thing. Again, these old bags and boards that kind of stick together. You can kind of hear them peeling off one another. Some Marvel team-ups. Again, nothing horrible. Good stuff to have, in filling out dollar boxes or 50-cent boxes. Some more just examples. Got some Daredevils, some 90s Doctor Strange, 90s Wolverine, Robin miniseries, Robin 2 miniseries, sorry, with the super exciting holographic covers. So again, this stuff, not exciting, and this is what I was expecting to see a lot of in this collection. And again, it's 3 boxes and probably 2 boxes are like that, but that means 3 boxes, a full box is stuff that's a little bit more exciting, which I'll get to in just a minute. Again, some New Mutants. You might notice the numbers here, and we'll get into that in just a moment. Some more Alpha Flight, Captain America, some of the 90s Guardians of the Galaxy. And we're starting to, see how this box fills out along. Nice, big run of X-Men. Weirdly, I think, unless I forgot it, I think he skipped over Gambit's first appearance. As well as some Spider-Man books from the, kind of mid-300s. No actual 300 in there. Excalibur, because somehow everybody and their mother was collecting Excalibur during this time period. This guy had said he hadn't picked up a comic book in probably 15, 20 years. So, no new stuff in here. But again, Robin, we got another run of X-Men. Then we get into some X-Factor, some new Defenders. Again, sticky bags. You can hear them. Jean Grey comes back. Nobody really cares about that, but it's a little bit neat. And some, 80s Fantastic Four that's not horrible stuff, kind of cool. Annual number 16. Again, you can hear the bags and boards just sort of stick together. Iron Man 150, that's not a horrible book to find. And the condition on most of these is pretty decent. I don't think you're going to find any near mint copies in here, but a lot of them feel like they were read once and sort of put in bags and boards. Some of them were stored sort of upright in these boxes without backing boards, so they got a little warped. We'll see that a little bit later. Like, you can actually kind of see there's sort of a bend. If you look at them this way, there's a bend to them, but nothing that really injured the books. Again, a few. These are my sweet spot. This is sort of when I was really doing most of my collecting, was kind of the Avengers in the late 100s. So these are exciting to see, even though there's nothing super exciting there. No first Taskmaster or anything like that. And we're almost done filling up this box, and that'll probably be all I show you in terms of I might flip through the long box. It's also got some junk in it. And Spidey Super Stories, I had this one when I was a kid, so I'll probably keep this one for myself. Warp. So again, nothing crazy in here. Some Peter Parker, this Spider-Man that I haven't really had a chance to get through because the boards are all stuck together. I'm sorry, bags are all stuck together. But you can see some of what's going into the box here. Marvel Tales. Again, we're pretty close. 61, 62, 63, and we go to 65. I think, although I can't remember specifically, I think 64 is the first Cloak and Dagger, so somehow jumps over that. And often in these collections, especially when you're getting them relatively cheap, the person may have culled through the books already and kind of pulled out the stuff that was really expensive. This is not what happened in this collection. I think just somehow this guy, when he was collecting, missed pulling those books. So number 64 isn't there. It's not like he pulled it out intentionally. Some Thor books. I'm doing horrible on the actual filmography here. Maybe I'll take a class one day. Moon Knight Contest of Champions. Should be collected in the 80s. Is something, again, some Defenders. Nothing to write home about here, but also nothing bad. And if this was all we had got for the price we paid, actually would be fine with that. So that gets one box out of the way, and I'll quickly pull up walk you through some of the other long boxes. This one's actually in the long box, and I've pulled sort of exciting stuff out of this already. So again, just to kind of give you a quick walkthrough of the not so exciting books in the collection. Again, nothing wrong with Batman Predator series. We'll make this into a set. Probably sell it for $10 or so, maybe 15. And then you get into stuff like Death's Head, some Spider-Man 2099, but nothing exciting. The obligatory run of X-Men, I did pull the first Omega Red stuff out of there already, and then of course you gotta have X-Factor, or X-Force, which, whatever, it's fine. I guess this is kind of a book that people care about occasionally, second appearance of Deadpool. But, this is what, when the guy put out his description, it was 80s and 90s X-Men and Wolverine, or X-Men and Avengers stuff, so I was kind of expecting a lot of this kind of not super exciting, solid dollar books, nothing that, I need to look into some of these Predator and Aliens books. Again, this will probably come out as a set. I don't know. I know some of these books kind of took a little jump lately with all the Marvel stuff that's going on, but I don't know if that did. First Bishop, so again, a few things in here. Did have some early McFarlane Spider-Man, which I'll show off in a minute. Again, solid dollar books, or 50-cent books, because we usually, as folks know who see us at shows, it's dollar books are buy 20, get 20 free, so you can easily get them for 50 cents a piece. We often will do a box price as well. Unfortunately, we got some Spider-Man we'll show you some of the exciting Spider-Man. No Spider-Man 300, unfortunately. I thought for a minute it was going to be in here, but it wasn't. Probably pull sold that book at some point. And that's it for kind of the blah in the collection. Now for the in the collection. So I'll just kind of quickly go through a few different pieces of it. This one I'll probably do a little bit more static. So I only looked through, I flipped through the long box before purchasing the books just to kind of get a sense. And most of what I'm about to show you is in those boxes. So this is what already sold me. So not what it once was. At some point, this set of Infinity War was going for $50. I don't think anybody cares about it quite that much anymore. But always good to see. I mentioned earlier the early Omega Red first appearance and early appearance. Again, not super high-end books, but nice to find. There was an entire, I take that back, not an entire run of Lethal Protector, but Venom Lethal Protector 1 through 4. This was what initially caught my eye in the long box. There's a full run of the Infinity Gauntlet set. Again, not what it once was, but still decent to find in the collection, and again, not in bad shape. I haven't had a chance to really look at the condition of these. Also, the Punisher miniseries, not all of them, but the first issue and 2 and 3 as well, which is always good to find. Of course, everybody and their mother had the Death of Superman. Surprisingly, we'll show you a couple of books where this guy bought multiples of the same copy. It surprises me that he only had one of these in here. Not that I mind, but I would have thought, given that there are some other books where he purchased kind of presumably on spec, I would have thought maybe more of them would have made their way in. There are a lot of what-ifs that I'll show. I just sort of pulled these two, what if Spider-Man had cosmic powers and what if Venom was Punisher, which are great. And everybody knows there's been a little bit of buzz about Darkhawk #1 lately. Again, the fact that it's even possibly a $5 book is a shock to everyone. I did mention, towards the end, there's New Mutants 100, which is a nice $5 book, and there was a New Mutants 98, which is obviously super exciting. Again, I haven't taken it out of this bag and board yet to take a look at the condition, but just a quick look at it, there's no major defects with it, so this is a nice, and this will, more than pay for what we paid for the collection, so this ended up being a really good deal for us. I can't ever remember if this is the annual where Gambit makes his cameo. If so, that's in there, and if not, oh well. Early Venom cover appearance. First Jim Lee on X-Men. And anybody who knows me personally knows I'm almost philosophically opposed to selling this book for any actual price because it's the first appearance of Jubilee, and I just do not like her as a character. Again, a really cool Venom cover on Spider-Man. And I did mention there's no Amazing Spider-Man 300, but there is, 361, 362, and 363. This one does appear, I can't tell if this is a ding in the book, and it didn't just happen when I dropped it. Yeah, maybe just a little mark in the book, but again, nice to find in the collection. Kind of beat up X-Men graphic novel God Loves Man Kills. So that's sort of stack one, and obviously the big standout was the New Mutants 98, followed closely by the Amazing Spider-Man 61. Next stack here, I'm not going to go through all of these, but basically just grab a chunk of them. And again, you can sort of hear the bags sticking together, the tape kind of melting. This is all the original What If series, so starting with what was Cool to Find #1. Again, in the shape it's in, it's probably a $10 to $15 book. Maybe if the bag is what makes it look shitty, it's a, sorry for the language, maybe it's a $20 book. A couple of the other early ones, 2, 3. Unfortunately, I think number 10 is the one where Jane Foster is Thor. That one's missing. It goes 9, 11. And again, I definitely don't feel like this is a guy who somehow snaked that out of here to sell separately. I think he just somehow didn't pick it up when he was collecting. But again, these early what ifs, there is the what if Wolverine had killed the Hulk. So, these are nice, maybe $3 to $5 books. So again, a nice solid chunk of them is great. 2 Moon Knight #1s, one of the original series and one of the Fist of Khonshu. Again, you can see the bowing in the book. They were stood up, but not, firmly. So the book itself is fine. Just needs, a new bag and board and kind of be straightened out. So this, again, especially the Moon Knight series coming out, is a nice pull, a nice find. And a few Daredevils, Death of Elektra. These are probably $5. So these are nice ones to have. I'm going to pause for just a second and I'll be right back.